Like, are you guys like cool if I like say bad words? Or you like,
Um, Maybe no Fs,
okay, I'll do my best. I'll do my best. So
but
I've been running a challenge, and literally the kickoff call, I didn't record it, so I had to go back like afterwards and record it. I was just like, oh my gosh.
mm, it's
Oh
the
well.
worst. I
I
go
was
live with
hoping.
my clients every Wednesday or Tuesday just before this, and it was like,
Mhm.
oh man, I gotta do it all over again and record it so I can post it. But
Yeah, I couldn't count how many times I've done that, and my challengers now are like, "Hey, make sure you press record before we start this, so you don't have to, you know, invest another hour or so into this one for us." I'm like, "Thank you, I appreciate it," because I'll totally just go, "Okay," and we'll
right,
just
oh, you missed the first 5 minutes, but that's okay.
right, right.
Awesome, awesome. Well, you ready? We are live.
Let's go.
We are gonna dive right in. So, welcome everybody, wherever you're watching on Facebook or here on Zoom. We are here with Nick Riell. But before we introduce him, I want to introduce the M5 Mastermind series. We've been going live every single month here in the group on a wide variety of topics that you all want to learn more about. So if you've missed any of the previous months, there's 10 other lives that you could go back and watch and access. They're all on YouTube. They're all in the Facebook group. If you're looking for something specific and cannot find it, let me know. I'm more than happy to point you in the right direction or tag you in it. But all that to say is this month's topic is sleep. We know sleep is important, but I think Nick's going to share just how important sleep is. So let me give him a little brief introduction, and then I'm going to let him take it away. But Nick Riell is the founder of The Real Company, the author of Sleep Secrets, and creator of The Final Sleep Solution. He's been in the health, fitness, nutrition industry for over 16 years, and he has dedicated his life to helping mostly sleep deprived dieters reach their fat loss goals by supercharging their sleep and better aligning their lifestyles to their unique biology to create insane results. So welcome, Nick. Anything else you want to add as your introduction? Tell us a little bit
I
more
really
about
don't
you.
want to butcher it anymore. Like that, like what you did was like great. Like I don't want to butcher it anymore. I don't want to butcher it. That was
Okay,
great.
awesome.
Oh, I'm not. No, that's good.
Well, welcome. We're glad you're here. So yeah, let's kick it off. So we have people watching on Zoom and we have people watching on Facebook. I'm gonna keep an eye on both chats. We'll have time for Q&A at the end, but if you have a question as we're going through this, go ahead and post it in the chat. But again, at the end, if you're on Zoom, you're more than welcome to hop on live so we can hear you and see you and talk to you, and we can get those questions answered that way as well. But go ahead and like I said, Nick, sleep's important, but just how important is sleep?
I mean, let's put it this way: if we were not able to sleep, we would not be able to be alive, since it makes up at least our body ideally likes it to make up at least like a good amount of our day, at least a third, all the way up to half our day is invested in sleeping. Depending on lifestyle, time of year, your level of health, your body does not do anything for no reason. Sleep is absolutely vital for maintaining your overall health. So it's huge. It's a foundational thing. I'm not sure how many of you guys are familiar with Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Kelsey, are you familiar with Maslow's hierarchy of needs, that triangle thing?
I've heard of it and I've probably been exposed to it at some point, but it's been a while. Go ahead and detail that.
Sure. Well, okay. I'm gonna use my like little like magic like Sharpie finger. So imagine like right here, here's a pyramid. My like totally crappy drawing a pyramid, and there's different layers to it. Not the top. People's like big goals and aspirations. That's where your fat loss goal lives, at the top of that pyramid. Sleep is at the bottom. And with Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you cannot ascend up into the additional levels if your needs under those are not being met. And this is a very common reason why so many people that I've worked with, talked to, just encountered in my tenure in the fitness and nutrition coaching space have struggled to either lose weight or keep the lost pounds off. 9 out of 10 times when I ask them, like, hey, how's your sleep? Oh my God, it's atrocious. Oh, I'm so tired. Oh, like this and all that. And I'm like, that's why, because your body's most basic need is not being consistently met. And when your body isn't able to have that need met consistently, it does completely alter how your body operates the following day, into the next day, and into the next day, until it becomes a state of life. And that alteration, simply put, I'm not going to go into the weeds of the science here unless you guys really want me to. It literally puts you in a state where you are way more likely to store body fat and not be able to lose it no matter what you do. You could have the best exercise plan, you could have the best diet, but if your sleep quality is royally screwed and it's not working for you, you are not going to be able to see the success that you could have if your sleep quality was working well and your body was able to meet that need consistently. So, from a 30,000 point of view, that's why sleep is so important. It's necessary for our overall health, our vitality, our quality of life, and it is a make or break with all of you guys being able to see success with your fat loss goal and keep those lost pounds off for life, which is, I'm guessing, something that everybody here would like, right? Right.
Awesome. Now we talk about, okay, hey, we need sleep. And I'm sure it varies. My 1-year-old, he needs 14 hours of sleep at night or total throughout the day. What do normal adults need, or does it vary by person?
To just be super like blunt and honest with you guys, that's just how I like to operate. It varies. Just like with nutrition, like no person's calorie needs going to be like identical, like verbatim identical. Your sleep needs are not going to be either. And for those of you guys who use little like sleep trackers, I have a Whoop or a Ring or the Apple Watch Garmin, you can see that every night, if you're tracking your sleep, it varies every single night. No matter how many hours or little hours of sleep that you're getting, it varies every single night. Now, that said, there is a technical gold standard out there that many people are familiar with. It is 7 to 9 hours. Now, I'm going to shed some light on where that number came from, because a lot of people don't know where that number came from. And I've seen a lot of times in conversations and with my own clients, like, oh, I didn't get my 7 or 8 hours of sleep. I screwed up. No, not necessarily. 7 to 9 hours was discovered from a study of a study of a study way back in the 60s that took a whole big segment of people, and they were really looking at quality sleep, quality energy levels. And they found that the people who were sleeping great, woke up full of energy, and were able to get repeated nights of consistent quality sleep fell into 7 to 9 hour range. And most adults will fit into that category with variances on either side. I'm a prime example of this. I usually get about 6.5 to 7 hours of sleep, and I function absolutely great. My quality is through the roof. Technically, I'm not in that golden zone, which would be a whole bunch of red flags if you go tell that to a doctor. They'd be putting me on meds, send me for sleep studies, and telling me that there's 40 things wrong with me, which there are not. And then there's my sister. She is somebody who, she does not get like 9, 10 hours of sleep, she is a mess the next day. And she's been that way her whole life. Now, that has something to do with her chronotype, which every single one of us has that. We may go into that a little bit later, but it just goes to show that there's variances on either end. You might be somewhere in there, but as long as that the quality of your sleep is great, how many hours your body needs to get that quality sleep is going to take care of itself more often than not.
Yeah. And so what about, we talk about the quality of sleep. What indicates good quality sleep? Some people have, been sleeping 5 hours a night for forever. Oh, I feel fine, but that's just their normal. So how do we know what is good quality sleep?
A lot of it is super subjective. And this is where it does get very gray with the sleep deprived crowd of saying, I'm fine. There's a difference between I'm fine and I'm thriving. And you just have to put your ego aside and have an honest conversation with yourself about that. Because how many times, so I'm tired, but I'm fine. Hey, Kelsey, are you okay? I'm fine. We all know that's just a load of bullshit. We all know that. So let's just address that right there. There's a difference between being fine and thriving. The easiest way to gauge sleep quality is how you wake up feeling. Are you able to get up out of bed with decent energy levels for yourself? Doesn't mean you have to jump out of bed going, yay. Like that's a lot for me. And I'm a morning person. Like someone does that to me, we're gonna have a problem. That's way too much. But you should be able to like get out of bed, do what you need to do, not have to rely on 4 or 5 cups of coffee throughout the day to have solid energy levels. You should be able to not have energy crashes throughout the day. A natural crash in the afternoon is normal, but we're talking about crash at 10 a.m., crash around 1, crash around 4, and you're just constantly exhausted all day long. So it's very subjective and it's going to be very unique to you. And this is where, if you've struggled with your sleep for a while, you may not know what a good night's sleep even feels like. It's going to be a foreign feeling to you because let's say you've struggled with your sleep for 5, 10 years per se, and you're only getting, let's say that I'll just use the example that you use, 5, maybe 6 hours of sleep, you feel fine. Well, that's your normal. That's what you're used to. You're not going to remember what a great night's sleep felt like. Or maybe if you do, you can put your thumb on it. Some of you guys may never have experienced that. And this is really why I wanted to hammer it's so subjective. But you should be able, again, you should be able to get up out of bed with decent energy levels. Those energy levels should be able to be maintained throughout the day naturally with that dip in the afternoon, early evening. That's totally natural. And you shouldn't have any type of fluctuations, minimal at best, as a general baseline. Now, to put it more in like the scientific terms, you should be able to fall asleep relatively quickly within about 5 to 20 minutes. You should be able to stay asleep throughout the night with minimal wakings. And you should be able to wake up feeling like you got a great night's sleep. If you click the box for all 3 of those, great. Your sleep is great. You can probably hop off this training, but don't, because there's a lot more in this than just this.
Right. Don't leave.
Don't leave. Yeah. Sorry, I was skipping. My guess is told everyone to leave.
Awesome. No, that's great. And you mentioned, the pyramid, the hierarchy, and how important sleep is. Sleep is foundational, not only to losing weight. Well, we have a lot of women in this group. Can you touch on how sleep impacts hormones? Because we know hormones play a role in weight loss as well.
Yes. I mean, if we want to dive down to the nitty gritty, outside of calories in versus calories out, it's hormones that are really going to be the driving forces and the little gears behind fat loss. And what all those hormones control, there's two big systems. One's your metabolism. I like to call this your body's weight management system, its energy management system, and your circadian cycle. Your circadian cycle is both controlled by your metabolism and it also controls by your metabolism, because nothing in the human body is just direct linear. We are multidimensional beings. Our bodies have a preferred way of operating, but it also takes feedback from your environment and your lifestyle and adjusts what it's doing. That's inherently what your circadian cycle does. It regulates everything that your body does on a 24-hour basis, including all your hormones. When that cycle is disrupted, it throws them all off. And in small instances, because can we all like agree that perfection doesn't exist and nobody's going to have a perfect night's sleep for the rest of their life? You can get close, but it's not going to be perfect. There's going to be times where your sleep's great. You're going to have an off night. I literally had an off 2 nights because it got so cold and dry here that I couldn't breathe and I tossed and turned all night. Like it happens, and that's totally okay. And your body can adapt to that stress in small instances. But when it's constantly thrown off, it desynchronizes your circadian cycle. And that is a huge stress on your body, because I want you guys to envision your circadian cycle as an orchestra per se. Your body's a big orchestra. Your circadian cycle itself is the conductor. What's the conductor do? It keeps everybody marching to the beat of the same drum. And then let's say like all your hormones, your different bodily organs, your muscle tissue, your skin, all that plays a part in that. It's a part of the orchestra. Well, when your circadian cycle is dysregulated, have you guys ever heard of a band or an orchestra play out of tune or off beat? Of course, we all have. Does it
Like
sound
little
great?
middle schoolers with like recorders.
Exactly. Think of your middle school class with recorders in your hand. It's a disaster. It's stressful. But that's your body when it's constantly going through sleepless nights. It desyncs that circadian cycle. It's never able to fully reset itself because it does reset itself every 24 hours. And sleep is its way to reset itself. And you need to have quality sleep for that reset to actually happen. So that's why it's important for hormone health. I mean, you look at any type, like Google, like hormone health, how to like repair my broken hormones, anything like that. Guarantee you top 3 answers. One of those is going to be sleep because it controls all of that. And coincidentally, your hormones also impact your sleep. So if your sleep's off and it throws your hormones off, those thrown off hormones are also going to impact your sleep. And that often lands people into a vicious cycle of sleepless nights and stressful days with disrupted hormone patterns, pant sizes that are getting bigger, confidence levels that are dwindling down, and a feeling of general hopelessness. And I'm not just throwing these words out. These are words that my clients have used who have been in this state before. So I get it. It's not fun.
No, absolutely not. Right. And we talk, I mentioned hormones, and we, like I said, we have mainly women here. And the times that we were talking about, okay, 7 to 9 hours. Is there much of a difference when it comes to sleep needs, women versus men, or is it pretty standard across the board?
Oh, there's definite differences. Women, in my experience, and I'm not going to sit here and argue science with this. There's plenty of studies out there that will both confirm and deny this. Just depends on which study you want to look at. From my experience, women tend to have worse sleep. Why? Society places more demands on them, their time, their identity, the whole 9 yards. What's that do? Stresses you out. Sleep and stress do not get along that well. You can have one or the other. So if you're operating from like morning until you go to bed from a state of super high stress, just due to your life demands, the career you have, if you have kids, that's another variable at play. You're going to struggle a little bit more with sleep. And then we can talk about an age of life circumstance that women go through that men don't, which is called menopause, which is a grade A way to have a year or two or more potentially of terrible sleep. Men don't go through that. We don't. Just simple fact right there. So yeah, there is a difference there. Women technically, from my experience, need to prioritize sleep a lot more. Simply just due that they're under a lot more stress. And if we want to talk about dieting, that's another stress that's going to be impacting that as well. The sleep needs everybody here. Sleep needs to be your best friend and your biggest ally on your journey. I promise you this, and I've worked with primarily women in my realm of sleep. When you get your sleep right and you're able to maintain it, it is a night and day difference, not only in your ability to achieve your fat loss goals, but for you to show up as the person, the woman, the mom, the wife that you want to be in life. Because we all know that that weighs on you guys. Nobody here in this group, and I haven't met any one of you, I can tell just by who's leading this group. You guys are driven, you guys care. And as such, you guys hold yourself to a higher standard than most other people do. And that's why I'm here. It's because I like you guys. We connect. This also means that you're operating in a different set of circumstances, not just because you're women, but who you are as individuals. I know I'm going off on a tangent here, but it's definitely related. For you guys to have everything that you want in life, because fat loss is not just all about hitting a number on a scale. It's really about how your results impact your family, your success in your career, who you are as a person. If that's not worth prioritizing your sleep, I cannot tell you what is.
Right. 100%.
But yeah, to circle back, yeah, there's definite needs. And my experience, women need a little bit longer of sleep. to function better. That's just my anecdotal experience. There's research out there that will confirm this. There's research out there that will say men and women are exactly the same. The truth is going to be in the middle with context.
Right. Now you hit on the amazing time of life, menopause for women, and how that impacts sleep. We have quite a few menopausal and postmenopausal women in the group. Can you touch a little bit more on that?
Yes, in terms of like what happens like with sleep when menopause happens, or how to actually like get great sleep during menopause. There's two parts to this one.
Both.
Both. Okay. So long story short, when you start going through menopause, you're inherently shutting down your reproductive system. Now, not to go all sciencey on you, women have a very special cycle that you guys all know of that men don't. It's called the menstrual cycle. The menstrual cycle is controlled and does have a very strong influence on your circadian cycle. And I want you guys to remember this. When your menstrual cycle comes to an end, it changes your hormone patterns, which ultimately change how your circadian cycle functions, which is going to disrupt your sleep, primarily in the form of hot flashes. It's not fun. I've coached quite a few people in this particular state, but that in a nutshell is what's going on. When you have a hot flash, inherently, you're having a hormone spike strong enough to trigger your body's temperature sensor in your head to wake you up. This is why you wake up feeling hot. And another reason why you wake up feeling super stressed out and anxious is because to get you to wake up, your body has to produce sufficient amounts of cortisol, your stress hormone, to wake you up. Fun fact, when you wake up every single morning, your body pumps your cortisol levels up to bring you out of sleep. That's totally natural. It's not a problem. It is a problem if it's happening 3, 4, 5+ times a night because you're having a hot flash. Sounds terrible. This leads us to the question, well, how do you fix it? Number one, understand that your body's just going to do what it needs to do. There are many different viable medical options out there that can help reduce hot flashes. Do your research. They are available to you. I will not tell you what those are because I'm not qualified to make that decision or educate you on that. That said, here's what I can tell you. I'm going to give you guys a story of a client who I had. She is one of my best clients. When she came to me with her sleep, she was going through menopause. And she said, Nick, help me. I said, how can I help you? I am waking up 7 to 9 times a night with hot flashes. And I'm on HRT. And I said, holy shit. Okay. I said, well, and I explained to her, you're going to have to just tolerate this. This is an internal reaction going on that you don't have a lot of control over. However, remember how I said that your body takes into consideration what you're doing and things you're putting into it, your lifestyle? It means you actually have some degree of control over it, which a lot of women who are going through menopause feel out of control. It's just spiraling. It is what it is, only if you say it is. So here's what we did. The first thing that I had her do was submit a 2-week food log because I wanted to see what she was eating, because what you put into your mouth will massively influence your sleep, both when you eat it, how much you're eating, and the quality of the food that you're putting in your mouth. And during that time frame of the 2 weeks, I wanted her to keep track of when her hot flashes either increased in frequency or were very severe, because I wanted to see the correlation between what she was putting in her mouth and how her body was responding to it. After that 2-week period was up, I looked at her food log and I looked at her journal right beside it. And we deduced that whenever she consumed alcohol, sugar, or very high fatty foods, or ate later in the day closer to bedtime, she would have more hot flashes and stronger hot flashes at that. So I said, great, we're not going to do any of that right now. So we're going to totally remove those food groups for the time being, for the next 2 weeks. And we're going to keep your meal basically spacing from about whenever you have your first meal to about 2 hours before you go to bed. That's how much time you have to eat your meals. She said, great. What happened after that was her hot flashes went down from about like 7 to 9 to about 5. So big difference right there. But it still didn't solve the whole problem. And I said, let's do this. Now that you're getting your diet under control, and 2 weeks for reference, guys, is like barely enough time to make any type of physiological impact. 4 weeks is a better time frame. Ask Kelsey all about that when she talks to you guys about fat loss. Don't freak out if you don't lose weight over 1 week. It takes about 4 weeks to measure progress. Same is going to apply here. So I had her start taking a cool shower for about 5 to 15 minutes before she would go to bed. The theory and strategy behind this was if we could not fully control the temperature fluctuations going on inside her body, we could control it to a degree with controlling her external temperature. And when you're going through hot flashes, technically that is a state of inflammation. Technically. When someone is super inflamed, let's say you're super sore. That's why ice baths are commonly prescribed. It's like, hey, to curb the inflammatory response, cool your body off. Same theory applies here. She pre-cooled her body, which cooled her core body temperature down. That allowed her to fall asleep faster and stay asleep longer because everybody's bodies prefers a cooler environment to sleep in. And your body does cool down 2 degrees when you go to sleep. So her body was more effectively able to make that transition. And here's what happened after a week of doing that. She went from those 5 hot flashes down to 0. That combined for 3 weeks, she only reported 3 hot flashes. It didn't totally get rid of them, but it significantly reduced the frequency and the severity of them. And when they did happen, she was able to fall back asleep, and her sleep quality wasn't as screwed up as it had been when she was waking up 7 to 9 times a night. This is how I fixed it for her. This has worked on a few other people as well. So if you're struggling with hot flashes, give that a try.
That's awesome. That's amazing. Yeah, going from what, 7 to 9 a night to 3 over the course of like 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. And then, well, when her sleep quality improved, she probably had better control on other health factors and able to lose weight and all those other complaints that come with menopause.
Bingo. Right? Bingo. And also, what is not commonly talked about with hot flashes is when your sleep quality is screwed up, it does set you up for more hot flashes because you're under a state of stress. So when your sleep quality is able to level out and normalize and improve, it's setting you up for limited hot flashes in my experience. So you're really doing yourself a win-win right there.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's one of the coolest things that I've seen in my fitness and nutrition coaching career. And in full transparency, I did not expect that result. So I'm saying this in full transparency, a atypical result, but it's been replicated multiple times. There's proof in the pudding right there. That framework does work.
Yeah, write a study about that and get it out there, right?
Well, I'm on it. Don't you worry.
Awesome. So we've been talking a little bit about weight loss. I know that's, yes, with menopause, that's the thing, but in general, people want to, and I always have to clarify, people want to lose body fat. Yes, they want to see the scale go down, but I'm telling people they want to lose body fat. So we talked about the hormones and how that plays a role in fat loss, and it's the, kind of the foundational thing. But to best help people have good sleep practices so that they can see the scale move in the right direction, what are some good sleep hygiene practices that they should be practicing? Should everybody be taking a cool shower before bed, or just those with menopause? Or are there other things like keeping your phone in the other room or whatever it may be?
There are foundational action steps, and then there are situational action steps, right? Like, okay, like for weight loss, foundational action step, if you want to be able to lose weight in an effective manner, you probably should track your food intake so you know how much you're eating, so we know where your body's at, and if it's ready to go into a calorie deficit, and if it is, how big of a calorie deficit we can use to get you on that path to your weight loss goal. So again, that's a foundational action step. So I'm going to share this foundational action steps with you guys. I'm going to go with the most butchered one is have a consistent bedtime. My God, we are not designed to have an abnormal sleep schedule. Your body does not like that. If it did, I would not be talking to you guys right now. None of us would have a problem with sleep. We could literally just do whatever the hell we wanted to do and be great. And I wish that was the case, but it's not. This is one step that I have royally screwed up myself. And personally, it was the gateway for me going through 3 years of sleepless nights, basically insomnia. It was all self induced. For those of you guys who are wondering why this fitness and nutrition coach over here talking to you guys cares so much about sleep, well, I lived it as well. And it destroyed my health. It almost destroyed my career. And I destroyed a lot of relationships along the way that some of them I will not ever be able to repair. All because I didn't prioritize my sleep. And it showed up with me pushing my bedtime around to scroll on my phone, to watch Netflix and de-stress and just escape from the day. Sounds familiar because everybody here can connect with that because we all have done it. This is also one of the biggest disservices you can do to yourself is not having a consistent bedtime frame. Scientifically, if your body doesn't know when to put you to sleep, it's going to struggle to put you to sleep. This is why if you have bedtimes all over the place, some nights you may be able to fall asleep just fine, and other nights you're just staring at the ceiling. So your body doesn't know it was time to go to sleep because there's no semblance of consistency or routine there. This is why it's so important. And I'm also going to add that sticking to a consistent bedtime is not the most helpful way to talk about this because that precedes perfection. Like I'm going to be on bedtime at 10 o'clock all the time. It's not realistic. Have a bedtime frame. If you know that you should be in bed by, let's say, 9:30 to 10, have a 30-minute window to get in there or a 45-minute window. What this is going to do is, number one, it's going to give your body a sense of consistency, and then it can adjust what it's doing and its clock system that controls your sleep to match that. But this is also going to make it borderline easy for you to stick with for the long term. And that's something I teach all my clients. Nothing I teach is short-term fixes. You guys, if you want short-term fixes, just go on Google. There's plenty of those options out there, and you've probably tried them, and they guarantee you they have not worked. It has to be a sustainable fix. It has to be a long-term fix. For a long-term solution to take hold and for it to really give you the fruits of your labor, you have to meet yourself with where you're at. And you have to start small, and you have to give yourself some quick wins. If you have a big old flex zone of like, let's say 30 to 45 minutes to get in bed, it's really easy for a lot of people to do. Then you stack win after win after win after win. And then in time, you're going to develop the confidence that you are able to go to bed on time. And that's going to do numbers with your sleep quality, your ability to lose weight, stick to your nutrition plan, stick to your workout plan, the whole 9 yards. So bedtime. Number one, everybody here have a bedtime frame set for yourself. If you take nothing else from this mastermind training, take this. This one will literally transform your life. It did for me. It's done for a lot of other people I've worked with. Number two, invest time to take care of yourself. This is very vague, but it's very important. Self-care is commonly talked about in all my female communities because it's important, right? Now, how many of you guys take, let's say an hour or two for yourself every single day just to do whatever the hell you want to do? Probably not a lot of you. It's okay. No judgment. What if I told you that your body is literally designed for you to have time and space to relax before you go to sleep? What if I also told you that a big reason why so many people struggle with sleep and their bedtime is because of what they do within those 2 hours before you actually go to sleep? Okay. Your body is not designed for you to be go, 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 go from the moment you get up to the moment you go to sleep. About 2 hours or so before you go to sleep, your body will physically start making a transition of you being awake to going to sleep. That said, even though it's trying to make that transition, if you block that transference from happening with, let's say, stress, and it doesn't mean whatever type of stress, it could be yelling at your kids, picking up after them, working on a project that you're trying to get done all the way up until bedtime, you can override that and your body will stop that process. And then it will restart it once it's wound down enough. And that ultimately just cuts into the amount of time you have to get quality sleep. And this is where, for a lot of people in my community, and definitely a lot of the clients that I've had, I strongly encourage you all to allocate an hour or two, or even 30 minutes, whatever you can, before you go to sleep, to just relax and wind down however you want to. What you are really doing is giving your body the time and space it needs to put you to sleep so that you can get a great quality sleep that night. It can be anything you want to do. It could be reading your favorite book. It could be scrolling Instagram. It could be watching your favorite Netflix show. Yes, these are tactics that I teach inside my community that are often demonized by sleep coaches and physicians. I'm going to tell you why I implement these things. It's safe to say that a lot of you guys probably watch your favorite Netflix shows at night anyways, and you end up going to sleep and you're scrolling on your phone before you go to sleep. Well, the reason why you're doing that, you're pushing your bedtime around, is because you're not giving yourself permission to unwind and relax and take care of yourself. So give yourself permission to do that and create time and space before you go to sleep to let that happen. And you'll find relatively quickly that you're able to hit that power off button when it's time to go to bed. And that phone could just stay on your nightstand and not in your hand, scrolling all the TikToks, simply because you're saying yes to yourself and what you want at that particular point in time. Number 3, have a consistent wake up time. A lot of people don't struggle with this one, except on weekends. Your body does not know Tuesday from Saturday, Sunday to Wednesday. It honestly doesn't care either. It has no semblance of what a day in the week is. It has a 24-hour timetable. It does not care. If you're struggling with sleep and you have work week schedule and you're waking up at 5 a.m. and then you have weekend schedule and you're waking up at 9 a.m., what you are doing is throwing your circadian cycle off. It might be under the guise of, oh, I'm sleeping in, but what happens when Monday comes around? Your sleep quality goes, why? Because you're shifting around the timetable too frequently, which your body does not like, and it can't adapt to that. Think of it this way. That 3-hour difference. For those of you guys, let's say you live on the East Coast. That would be equivalent of you going from New York to Los Angeles and expecting to get a great night's sleep that night in Los Angeles, or vice versa. It's called social jet lag. Mm-hmm. It's not actual jet lag caused by you flying to different time zones, but you're changing your body's time and going through, quote, different time zones based off of your social schedule. And again, I'm going to emphasize this. A lot of people, and I'd say more than likely half of you guys watching right now or catching the replay, your wake up time's solid. If that's you, great. Keep doing what you're doing. But if your sleep quality is not too hot and you find that your weekend and work week schedules are too different, seal the gap. Is there something wrong with catching an extra hour or so of Z's on a Saturday? No, there's not. It's totally okay. But if you constantly find yourself sleeping in to catch up on sleep, you need to address what's actually going on in the vast majority of your week, because that's where the problem is. And you have unalleviated sleep debt that you're trying to catch up on that ultimately is keeping you stuck in the cycle of sleepless nights and stressful days because you're messing around with your body's clock a little too much. So foundational steps, those 3 are ones that everybody here can walk away and begin applying now. And I can safely assure everybody that it will have positive effects on your sleep quality.
Awesome. And you're right. We hear all the time, like, hey, put the phone away, no screens before bed. And, I'm sure there's research that goes both ways, right?
There is.
I have a personal question as far as,
Sure.
like wake up time. I don't yell at people, but I get mad at people when they have 14 different snooze alarms. Does that play a role in sleep at all, or is that just a personal pet peeve of mine?
My God, that's a personal pet peeve of mine too. Let's put it this way. If you have, okay, okay, I'm just gonna give you guys my opinion on this. Take it or leave it. If you love it, adore it. If you don't, just give me the finger and just whatever. I don't care. It's totally cool. If you have more than 2 alarms, you probably should not be waking up at the time that you are. Come on. Like, she's in the other room. My significant other does this all the time. She'll have like 3, 4, 5 alarms. It's like, no, 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 no. If you find yourself needing that many alarms to wake up, chances are that's actually hurting your sleep more than it's helping. And you should probably double down on those action steps that I just gave you so that your sleep quality can go up a little bit and you don't need 15 alarms. But hey, you know what? If your sleep quality is great and you like having 15 alarms, you do you, boo. I'm not going to tell you guys how to live.
People commenting, yeah, I have my husband does this. I hate it.
I will never understand that. And I come from a military family. And this is probably why it's like one and done. Because like my dad's a Navy man. If you weren't up, you're screwed. So if we had to get up, if we didn't get up, we were screwed.
Yeah.
So there's more than likely a bit of like socialization that goes into this as well. And maybe somebody just likes having that many alarms and it makes them feel good about sleeping in. And let's say that's their version of like taking care of themselves. Like, okay, cool. I mean, I think 15 is a little excessive, but you know what? If your sleep's great, you have 15 alarms. Okay, I guess. Don't ask me that question. I don't like my answer.
Awesome. And we talked a little bit about creating a conducive sleep environment. Our bodies like it cooler. We establish a consistent sleep schedule. But what else can we do in the bedroom to make sure that we are getting a good night's sleep?
Yeah. So much of like the quote sleep hygiene tactics I gave you, you actually won't find when you Google sleep hygiene other than have a consistent bedtime. So with this question, we're going to get more of those like classic like sleep hygiene tips and tricks. So tailing off of what you just said, which is tailing off what I just said. Funny how that actually worked. Anyways, my brain, I'm an ADD kid, so I go see squirrel and oh, look at that over there. That's literally what happened, guys. Just bear with me. Anyways, so tailing off of what Kelsey was saying about your body prefers and will thrive in a cooler environment versus a warmer environment for sleep, this definitely is going to apply to your sleeping environment. This is actually one of the big topics I cover in my digital sleep product is creating an optimal environment for you so that you're doing everything that you can within your control to make sure that your sleep quality is as high as possible. One of the first things I talk about is making sure that you're in a cool and comfortable environment. And this is where we're going to talk about that good old bedroom temperature. What's the ideal bedroom temperature? Well, technically, there's a range of like 62 degrees to like 75 degrees that's been noted. That's like what, 12 degrees
Oh, I
variance?
would die at 75.
I know. I know. I know. And most of you guys would probably freeze at 62. So where do you figure out like, well, what's the optimal sleeping environment temperature for me? Go get your thermostat and crank it down a degree and go sit in your room for like 30 minutes. If you can sit there comfortably for 30 minutes and you won't have to like turn on the fan, you won't have to put something on because you're cold, great. It's probably a good temperature for you to fall asleep at. This one does take a little bit of trial and error. A lot of people know their sweet spot, and then they have a significant other who has a polar opposite sweet spot. Like, okay, I'll talk about myself and the missus. I want the morgue, like legit, like throw me in the little body bag thing. I will wake up feeling fantastic. Her, she has like no body fat on her at all, and she gets cold real easy. So she likes a warm environment, and then there's just this clash. And this is where you need to have a honest and open conversation with your spouse of like, hey, where can we find a happy medium and a compromise point with the temperature so that you're able to get a good night's sleep and I'm able to get a good night's sleep too? Because if we're not getting great night's sleeps on either end, that's going to cause a problem. Right? Right. And probably a lot of people in the comments are like, You just told the story of my life. So play around with it. If you're lucky to be single or your partner is on the same bandwidth of you with temperature, just play around with it. And it's going to change from season to season too, guys. Like we're going into our colder season, and I'm in Las Vegas, and it was 66 today. So if you're not here in Las Vegas, Nevada, and it's 66 and it's here in 40, well, you're screwed. Anyways, this is always summer here. But let's say like that's going to change. More than likely, you're going to have a winter temperature and a summer temperature at the very least. If you're somewhere where you actually get 4 seasons, unlike here, you might have a spring and fall temperature as well. So track those different temperature variations in terms of the season and figure out what's going to be comfortable for you. And don't be afraid to use other means other than the thermostat to cool yourself off. Fans are great, whether it's a ceiling fan, a floor fan. There's a ton of bedding products out there like chili pads and like cooling pillows, cooling sheets. And from on the opposite side, warming stuff that can really help you get a great night's sleep, and you don't have to always adjust that thermostat. So there's a lot of options out there. Just do a little research. And I guarantee you'll find a solution for you that will work. But yes, your sleeping environment does need to be cooler, but it also needs to be comfortable, regardless of the season. The second one is little to no lights. And here's where TVs and screens get a bad rap. And there's a good reason for it. All these little devices here, they emit light, as we all know, but they emit a very specific spectrum of light. It's called blue light. And blue light is a spectrum of light that really gets your photoreceptors going in the back of your head. And they happen to be the same receptors that control to a degree of when you're tired and when you're awake. So when light comes into your eye, this is a reason why people wake up. And when light fades and darkness is picked up by your eyes, this is why we end up getting tired. It's because your body uses these environmental cues to also gauge when it's time to go to sleep and when it's time to get up. So now that we're entering our dark months, look at all this light on. It's technically dark outside where I am. It's dark where you're at too. My eyes are still picking up that light, and it's telling my brain to keep me awake. If I went dark like 47 minutes ago, I guarantee you I'd be like, oh, it's time to go to bed. Guarantee it. This is just living in the modern age. But a lot of reasons why a lot of people do struggle with falling asleep is simply because they're exposed to too much light before they go to bed. And that light exposure interferes with your body's process of taking you from being awake to going to sleep. It'll disrupt it and stop it in its tracks. And a lot of times this occurs in the bedroom. And this is why in my digital product, and something that I talk about very openly with everyone, is for your sleeping environment, as dark as reasonably possible. If you need a nightlight for whatever reason, make sure that it is out of your direct line of sight, and it is not an LED if possible, because LEDs emit white light, which is a lot of it is going to be blue light. It's going to be very bright. Your eyes are going to pick that up even when they're closed. So have a warmer light, such as just a regular incandescent bulb where it's glowing orange, it's glowing yellow, or a little bit of red. It's going to help. There are LED bulbs that are sleep friendly. They do cost a little bit more, but if you're someone who's dead set of having a nightlight on, there is that option available to you. But general rule of thumb, the darker the better. And then lastly is sound. This one's a little bit controversial because technically humans will sleep better in silence because our ears are always scanning for threats. This is taking us all the way back before we were civilized and we lived in the mountains, and our ears had to pick up if a cougar was coming to bite our foot off in the middle of the night, and we could hear the rustling. It's a defense mechanism. Half of you guys here probably like a quiet environment. More than likely, that's going to be you. Well, there's the other half that like to listen to something before they go to sleep, or it helps them improve their sleep quality. If you're somebody who wants silence, the quieter your room, the better. If you're someone who needs noise, here's what I recommend. Number one, a white noise. Nothing super musical, nothing super aggressive, nothing super loud. It has to be calm. It has to be relaxing. That could be listening to rain. That could be listening to thunder if that's your jam. That could be listening to the ocean. This is something that I like to do whenever I feel like doing that. It could also be going more into like the sciencey nerdy route and getting specific binaural beats that are designed to talk to your brain and put it to sleep. Yes, there are things that do that, and there are apps that are able to do that, such as Brain FM. If that is your jam, definitely use that. Don't apologize for it. Do what you need to do. My only caveat here that I would recommend is that you do not have that noise source on all night. Because remember how I said your ears are always scanning? If it's constantly picking up noise, it's going to interfere with your ability to go into the deeper levels of sleep because your brain's picking up that noise and it's unsure if it's safe enough to go into deeper sleep where your body's literally paralyzed. It's also called REM. And it takes it a lot more to wake up to respond to anything. So something to chew on there. But those are your big three sleep hygiene tactics that, when applied, they'll definitely take your sleep quality places you never thought it would. And it's all simple stuff. Nothing I've said so far has been really revolutionary other than the cold shower stuff. This is all things that we probably know. We just needed the reminder with a very specific why attached to it so that you actually go do it.
Awesome. Awesome. I love it. No, this is all good information. I'm like, I'm gonna have to go back and watch this, and I'm glad I recorded. But I know we're coming up on time here. I don't want to keep you too terribly long, and I want to give people time for questions at the end here. But go ahead, and you mentioned you said you had a freebie. I don't want to butcher it because I'm sure you have it all laid out. But tell us a little bit about that, and I can share that link with people as we finish up here.
All right. So, I mean, you did talk about it a little bit in the intro. So, I have this cool little product that's designed to take you from struggling with sleepless nights to never struggling to get a great night's sleep in less than 90 days. This is a proven product. It's been proven multiple times by multiple people who have ran this product. I have personally run this product on myself. Some of the steps that are inside are the ones that I took to overcome my 3 years of insomnia and helped a lot of other people improve their sleep quality, such as, a client of mine, her name's Jessica. She's a military mom of 4. She's a business owner as well. When she came to me, she was getting maybe 3 hours of sleep after she implemented, it's called the Final Sleep Solution. She was getting 7 to 8 hours of high quality sleep every single night. And she was able to do that within a month, which is huge because she didn't know what a great night's sleep was for 10 years. I have another client of mine who ran that. His name is Jamie. Jamie is scatterbrained. He's a very eccentric guy. His brain's always going 1,000 miles an hour. And he has a lot of hormonal issues as well, because yes, men can get hormonal issues that end up wreaking the same type of havoc that it does on women as well. When he came to me, he was getting maybe 4 hours of sleep. Within 2 weeks, he was back up at 8 with this product. I have another client of mine. Her name's Lori. Lori is a career-oriented mom of 3. She had tried pretty much everything under the sun to get her sleep quality in check, and nothing had worked. And she was getting about, I think memory serves, around 2.5 hours of sleep a night. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding, guys. After she implemented the Final Sleep Solution, within 90 days, and she was coming up on I think it was day 80 or so, she was able to get 7 hours of unbroken sleep, which is huge. Which is huge, guys. To make that level of change in your body in that short of a time span, that's huge. And needless to say, all of them went on to pursue their weight loss goals, and they lost a combined total of well over 150 pounds combined. So this is huge for everybody here. Now, it is called the Final Sleep Solution. Normally, I would charge for this, but I don't anymore. For you guys, it's free. The reason why I don't charge for this is because sleep should be something that everybody should be able to have high quality. Simply put, I've struggled with sleepless nights. Kelsey has definitely had her fair share, and she's a new mom, so she's got a couple more ahead of her. It's one of the few true secret hacks to being able to achieve your weight loss goal and keep your results for life. That's actually a secret hack. This will literally expedite the process for you and make it so much easier that you wish you had found this sooner. And it's yours for free, completely for free. I'm not asking anything else of you. This is my gift to you guys for showing up for yourself. Because I'm going to be honest with everybody here. For the last 56 minutes, you could have been doing anything else. You chose to be here and to learn how to get your sleep right because you know that when it's working for you, it's going to radically transform your life and you want it. That is another reason why it's free, because I like rewarding action takers. You guys all took action, whether you're here live or whether you're catching the replay, you still made the same time investment. I want to reward you for that. Because I could tell you, when I sold this program, I was selling it for close to $1,000. It is, again, yours free. So do not sleep on this. Pun intended. Get it, get inside, get in the community, start applying, and finally be rid of your sleepless nights so you can go into the next phase of your life, achieve your weight loss goal, and keep those results forever. Because I know that's exactly what Kelsey teaches. And that's why you're all here in the first place. So that's the next logical step for everyone here. Get this. This is going to be the best investment, time-wise and energy-wise, that you have made in a long time. I guarantee that. Again, it's yours free.
Awesome. So I shared it in the comments on the live. I shared it here in the chat. But if somebody's watching this on YouTube and you can't find it, let me know. I'll have to figure out where to post it there.
We'll have a link posted for it that you can click to access it. Or I'm very easy to find too. This Nick Riell, that little name in the bar, Facebook, Instagram. Those are my main ones right now. Just message me and I'll get it to you, or come inside my community, Sleep Secrets. And it's a staple that we use inside of our community. Everybody in there has that product because, quite frankly, you're not going to be able to get rid of your sleepless nights without this product.
That was going to be my next thing. How do we find you? How do we, if we have questions, where can they find you? And it's, yeah, Facebook, Instagram. Is there an email that works, or just Facebook and Instagram for now?
Facebook and Instagram, easiest way to get a hold of me. On Facebook, I do answer messages, so do not hesitate to reach out to me. I am going to be upfront with everybody. I do get a good amount of messages, so if you do message me and I don't get to you, just bug me. The easiest way to get in touch with me, do friend request me on Facebook. That way, your message won't go to my spam. That's kind of important if you want me to answer it. And get inside my community. I'm very active in that community. I will see everything in there. So there you go, guys. You have a whole big old opportunity to radically transform your life and the results you're getting.
Awesome.
That's all I need now. Let's play ball.
I'm keeping an eye out for questions here.
Yeah. Or did we do a really good job and there are no questions?
Well, we got one. And somebody mentioned on the menopause topic, they get more hot flashes when they don't drink enough water.
Yes. So the reason why that is when you're dehydrated, it's easier for your body to go into an inflammatory state and stay there. Also, water is how your body really controls its temperature levels. When you're dehydrated, it's much harder for your body to control its temperature levels than when you're sufficiently hydrated. That's huge. I'd say next to implementing the tactics that we covered here, double down on hydration. Don't drown yourself in water. Like if you're not used to drinking a gallon a day, please do not go to your local grocery store and grab a gallon and start walking with it. Please don't. You do not have to do that. If that's your jam, cool. By all means, cool, but you don't have to do that. Just prioritize ensuring that you're hydrated. That doesn't mean just water alone. That means having electrolytes with that water as well.
Awesome. And then one other from Christina. She asked,
Fire.
why would I go to sleep? She falls asleep at a decent time, but then she wakes up at 1 and can't go back to sleep.
For this one, that's what we call a night waking, and there's a bunch of reasons why that could be happen. Typically, it's going to occur due to some sort of stimulus from your environment, such as like light, sound, or temperature fluctuation that will cause it. It could be that your body's hungry, and your body will wake you up if you're calorie deprived for you to go find food, because the process of sleep is very energy demanding. If your body does not have ample amount of blood sugar and energy reserves to sustain the process, it will wake you up because it will compromise your sleep quality for you to get food, because without food, you can't sleep or stay alive. And that ties into blood sugar. That could be a factor here. Without knowing a little bit more about you and your situation, it's hard for me to tell. So I would like you to message me so I can give you a really good answer, and one that you're able to walk away with action steps from, not just, oh, hey, I have this problem. It could be this. I would like to over deliver for you. And this applies to everybody here. If you have questions too, just message me because I will give you the best answer I possibly can. Lastly, if you have a long-standing history of waking up at 1 in the morning, which could be a possibility, that's how your body's clock is synced up. And you're going to need to take very specific steps to start falling asleep faster so you can reset that clock system a lot more efficiently. That's a longer gameplay because that technically does fall under circadian dysregulation, but it is fixable.
Awesome. Awesome. And people, okay, so that's all the questions I see at this current point. But the final sleep solution should answer a lot of it for people. That's a great resource to have. But as we finish up here, one, thank you, Nick. But if you could give people one, like if they watched nothing else but this last 30 seconds, what is the one thing people should walk away with knowing about sleep and their health?
Well, without it, you do not have health. You will not be able to achieve your health and fitness goals no matter what they are. And when you do have it, it will massively shrink the time frame on your end to achieving your goal while reducing the amount of effort, because when you're able to get quality sleep, your body's working for you. And when your body's working for you, it's a hell of a lot easier for you to get the results that you need to get. And it's going to be so much quicker for you, which fast results and easy results. These are things that are bastardized in the fitness and nutrition industry. These are guarantees around sleep that I can safely guarantee to everybody here. So do not sleep on sleep. It will literally game change the results you're getting as well as your life.
That's the top. Don't sleep on sleep. I love it. I love it. Awesome. Well, again, thank you, Nick, for your expertise and sharing with everybody today. Again, if anybody has any questions at all, Nick's inbox is open.
Yes.
And stay tuned for our December M5 Mastermind. It has yet to be announced. We'll announce it 2 weeks before it happens. So stay tuned. But again, thank you, Nick, and we will talk with everybody later.